The auditorium was packed, buzzing with laughter and chatter. It was supposed to be a light-hearted night, a community talent show where neighbors showcased everything from juggling to piano playing. The lights dimmed, the curtain rose, and the crowd leaned in with anticipation. Nobody, not a single soul in that building, could have predicted that the man they had all underestimated, Senator John Neely Kennedy, was about to deliver a performance that would change everything. John wasn't supposed to be on stage. In fact, the only reason his name was even on the list was because a group of young locals had put it there as a prank. They assumed it would be funny to see the straight-laced, sharp-tongued senator stumble through a song, maybe mumble a few lyrics, and leave red-faced. To them, he was a man of politics, not art, someone who belonged behind a podium, not under a spotlight. But John knew something the crowd didn't. Behind the layers of policy debates, the witty one-liners, and the sharp observations, he carried a piece of himself that no one had ever seen. Music wasn't just a hobby, it was his hidden refuge. For years, in the quiet of his Louisiana home, he would sit by an old wooden radio, singing along to the voices of legends. Music was where his soul went to breathe. Yet he had never shared that side with the public. As his name was announced, chuckles rippled through the audience. Some people even clapped mockingly, expecting a spectacle. John walked out calmly, his face steady, his hands holding a microphone as if it were both a sword and a shield. For a brief moment, the silence was almost unbearable. He looked at the crowd, at the smirks, at the doubting eyes. Then he drew a deep breath and began to sing. The first note silenced the room. It wasn't just the strength of his voice, it was the raw honesty in it. The sound was deep, resonant, and full of emotion. Every word carried weight, as if it were carved out of his life experiences, the struggles, the triumphs, the pain, and the hope. He didn't sing like a politician trying to impress. He sang like a man who had lived, who understood brokenness, and who still chose to stand tall. As the song unfolded, the audience leaned forward. What began as mocking murmurs turned into stunned silence. Some wiped tears from their eyes, others exchanged glances of disbelief. It was as if the walls of the auditorium had melted away, and everyone was standing inside the story of the song, living it with him. His voice didn't just echo, it reached into hearts. Halfway through, something extraordinary happened. The laughter that had filled the air at the start was replaced by an electricity so powerful it was almost sacred. People realized they weren't watching a joke, they were witnessing a revelation. This was no longer about entertainment, it was about truth. By the time he reached the final note, the room erupted. The applause wasn't polite, it was thunderous. People stood, clapping, cheering, W.